Good morning, everybody. It's Jillian with Jilly Juice, JILLYJUICE.com. And I've basically had maybe a few hours sleep. And this always seems to happen when I have these revelations, when everything just comes together, when I finally put it all together. I mean, there's probably gonna be more, but I don't see, when you deal with climate and cancer, disease, chronic illness, politics, social constructs, the law, and then now you're dealing with geopolitics and going on to these public Facebook sites like The Guardian or Daily Mail or any of those or CNN. And I am commenting back and forth with people all over the world. And it's very deceiving when you're sitting in your home, let's say in America, and you're talking to someone who has a total different point of view of the American way. They're reading publications that mischaracterize America and all that, and they're just planting seeds. And you're sitting in America and you're not really, like, you don't have your critical thinking cap on, and you're just going back and forth with people. And then you start believing the anti-American sentiments that are out there. And I fell into it because I thought that everybody I was talking to was my friend. I thought that they were in my corner. Oh gosh, it's us against the system. And wow, it's a trip. It's a trip. And now that I have my values, I know exactly who I am, what I stand for. Talking to the same people that I used to feel like I had some kinship with is a completely different experience. It's a trip. It's a trip. And I'm arming all of you guys to know how to fight, or not fight, to know how to back up your own ideals amidst all of the miscommunications out there. Hello, Gail. Okay? I'm giving you guys information to know how to talk to people who are spewing anti-American sentiments, who are demonizing America. This is the land of innovation. I wouldn't have been able to do Jilly Juice if it wasn't for America. Okay? And so I'm going on to these sites and they're like, oh, you're so fascist, you're backing Trump. And you know, I learned from the last administration through all the conspiracy stuff. I learned, just keep it chill, Gail, okay? I don't want any interruptions, okay? But thank you, and I see you again too. But I learned through all of my conspiracy stuff, I learned through all of that I've made mistakes as far as believing rhetoric all over the internet, believing publications that have the intent to minimize my country and undermine my values. And I'm now seeing the bigger picture. There are a lot of people out there. There are countries out there that want to see America fail, that want to see me fail. I mean, it's not just America, it's people wanting to come after me as well as all of you and your ideals. And we people here sitting on American soil spewing this stuff, undermining their own countrymen. And I was one of them. And boy, am I ashamed. But it was something that I had to go through. It was a process. Thank God I'm on the other side and I'm not spewing any more anti-American sentiment. But what had me wake up? What had me wake up? Because we have man-made law of the land. We have natural law. I'm doing Jilly Juice. I promote life, okay? I promote life, and I love my country. And we have 3 branches of government. I mean, I was going back and forth with somebody that's saying that, that I was saying that, you back up your president. I don't care who it is, whether it's Obama, whether it's Clinton, whether it's Bernie, whether it's Trump, whether it's Buttigieg or anyone else that we happen to vote in office for whatever reason, or let's say they just put somebody in office. They're still representing the Constitution until Congress and the Supreme Court deem that person unfit. Though we have a voting system, you can vote for Democrat, Republican, but where the hell they come from? Where did this Democrat and Republican thing come from? Because I would like to think at some point that we were all united at some point before. And I'm thinking, yeah, right after post World War II, we were all united. And then the 1950s, the activism, the disparity between the rich and the poor, and the cultural divide, the racism, the genderism, and all that stuff. So we had a lot of growing pains, but we haven't graduated from that division, because societal constructs will always be mistaken for the federal constructs, I guess. Okay. I mean, I don't know how I can say this. It's like there's a distinction between the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and then we have laws that are put in place that are fluid. And we will have different societal constructs because society was going to change all the time. And then you have to put in new laws, amendments to the Constitution, and that goes through a whole process. But it's based upon the good of society, the greater good. Okay? So what has me now become so clear in my convictions? Because there's the laws of Jilly juice, and then there's the laws of the land. There's natural law and there's man-made law. There's life. I promote life in my country with a constitution and a Congress. And then no matter what, you back those that back your doctrine, whether it's something in, I mean, I don't know all the politics in Australia. I don't know what doctrine you go by in Australia. I haven't studied Australian politics, but those of you that are in Australia or in the UK, you have doctrines and you have due process, whatever that is, parliament, whatever. And you're able to walk to your grocery store. Yeah, some of you are dealing with a lot of different natural disasters. Some people are saying that it's all man-made, it's purposely done. But you know, either way, whatever, it doesn't even matter. No matter what, at this point, society is changing. Okay, society is changing. And you have to be able to adapt. Okay, you have to be able to adapt. And regardless if there's things in the background that I'm not privy to, I'm still going to back up my government because it's the only one I have. I can't go anywhere else. There's nowhere to go. Do you realize there's nowhere to go? You have no choice but to back up your own government or go find another government who will take you in that's willing to risk having someone that already compromised their own current government. Now we take in refugees who have been part of regimes that are very inhumane, and we have taken them in, they've gotten asylum, but we have a limit. So that's why we have a say in what goes on out there as far as geopolitical, okay? Because we have interests out there because people are coming to us, and then yeah, we have American and Western interests all over the world, and we have to protect it. But here's the thing when it comes to extremes and balance and all of that. Man-made law and natural law have to be merged together, because if it was pure natural law, then we would have pure Darwinism. We would have a very high infant mortality rate, a high infant mortality rate. So man-made law has to come in and intervene, just like with the due process. We have people that accuse each other of things, of crimes, that may seem like it's very right on, but then when you actually look at the evidence does not suggest or support the accusations. So you have to have man-made law and due process over and above natural law, and those two have to be somewhat compatible, though natural law will eventually trump man-made law at some point. And then man-made law could trump natural law for a certain amount of time, but it's not like you just stay with man-made law or natural law. Those two have to be balanced out correctly. And then you promote life, and then you back up your country's doctrines. And so it's been interesting debating with people all over the world now that I have this very stable platform. And then now I'm, I mean, like Benedict Arnold. I mean, you've heard Benedict Arnold. He was a general in the Revolutionary War, and then he defected and was traitorous to the American, to the Americans, went back to Britain. And we have a lot of those people on my soil right now. Now, they're not physically doing anything harmful. They're just saying some stuff. But you know what? Words carry a lot of weight. And that's why Facebook has censored a lot of people, because words do carry weight. I mean, Facebook already knew they were influencing the Arab Spring. I mean, social media has a lot of weight. The internet has a lot of weight. And right now we have a lot of freaking chaos, okay? When I see my own countrymen undermining their own government, not backing their own president, regardless of how you feel about him, when the Constitution and the Bill of Rights goes out the window, and you could say, oh yeah, the president's like, not adhering to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, but you know what? Let due process determine that. That's what I say. That's why people, that want to accuse me of stuff. If my government and the FBI doesn't deem me dangerous, then that should tell you that I'm not, because the law has the last say. And so, yeah, I have been really, really now like another revelation. And so I don't have to choose between a Democrat, Republican. You know where Democrats, Republicans come from? From people with imbalances. They say that, your politics, you're more idealistic when you're young, and then as you get older, you become more conservative. I mean, that's probably true for the most part, because people's politics change as their health changes, as their capabilities change. When someone is so able and maybe they have a lot of access to resources, they have connections, they're more Republican because they're making money and they want to keep it. They don't want to give it away to someone who isn't capable of making their own money. And then you have the Democrats, okay, that have more issues, more social programs. Where do these social programs come from? People with imbalances. Social programs are there to support those that can't make it really on their own in our society as far as relative to the general population. They need more handouts, they need food stamps, they need extra services, they need all these different things that someone who has access to resources, come from a good family, very able-bodied, doesn't need to have access to. So there's the split. I get it now why we have the split. It has to do with how many disabilities or different abilities you have, how many social programs you need. And I realized this, I don't need social programs. If I get into a car accident, I'll go to the ER, get stabilized, and then come home and drink Jilly juice and heal on my own. I pay my taxes, I pay the IRS, I pay all of my bills, and I have no reason to trigger any government to come into my house. I don't even have any kids, so I don't need to have any CPS being triggered or having to get vaccines for my kids. If they deem that there is a specific virus that is threatening my community and they make it mandatory, I do it because I'm healthy enough. I can handle any preemptive exposure or any current exposure. Right, John, the system tries to cater to everybody. And then people that utilize the system a lot more, then they turn into a specific political party. So that's where the parties come from, is based upon the needs of the citizens. And so, yeah, I've been seeing this back and forth. Every 8 years, we have a Republican or a Democrat. And, no matter what, there are people out there that are going to try to compromise American interests. And either we kind of hang back and don't do anything and try to buy peace, but still people don't like us, so it's not going to make a difference to them. And then sometimes you'll have a president that will say, okay, I'm tired of all the bullying out there. They're going to now exercise their muscles and flex. And I'm perfectly fine with that, because you know what? I took a lot from people who are coming down on me. I ignored a lot. I ignored the media for a long ass time. It was only last year that I actually took on the media the way that I did. And sometimes you have to fight back. Sometimes it's good to turn your cheek, to look the other way, and then sometimes you have to flex. And you have to stand up to the bullies that are trying to take you down. And how I do that is through the court of law. And if you can't meet me in the court of law, then you have nothing to stand on. And believe me, I went to a court of law with somebody who never showed up. Okay, so sometimes you have to flex and you have to go and fight the battles. I traveled to a different state to go show up for something that they never showed up to. Okay? So if you want to fight battles, you do it the right way. You do it through the court system, the judicial system. So sometimes you have to fight. It's not always going to be fun and games and peace and positivity. That's a complete fallacy for those that don't want to face up to fighting for their life. Some people like to want to roll over and just die, but that's not the Jilly Juice way. That's not Jilly Juice. You fight for your life, whatever it is. You fight for your country, and you fight to keep law and order in your society so you can still walk relatively safe. Now, I wouldn't walk in some parts of my city after dark. So yeah, I was up all night last night for the most part. My brain was just going. And I'm now very definitive in my convictions. I have very good arguments. And I'll take on geopolitics with no problem. Because you realize people out there are so stuck in their emotions. They're so stuck with their imbalances that they're lashing out. They're blaming. And when they realize they don't have anything but their own system that they're trying to bite. They're trying to bite the hand that feeds them. Yeah, people are depressed. People are out of control. And it's now time to call them out. It is. And, yeah, I mean, back in the McCarthy era, we didn't have the internet. We just had accusations. We had Hoover going in and spying and doing files on people, trying to figure out who's going to compromise American ideals. McCarthyism. But now we have the internet, and now we can see who are the traitors to our country, who are going to undermine and sell out their brother and their sister. And it's time we recognize who they are, because no matter what, you have a Constitution and Bill of Rights you back up. And then you have due process for those that seem to be unfit. Because accusations alone are not enough. You have to have the evidence and the substantiation. And if you don't, then it's just an empty accusation. And there are a lot of empty accusations all over the internet, all over. And so that's why smart people go to that's why lawyers are smart. My mother went to law school. She understands the law. My dad's in biotech. He understands biochemistry, but not enough to save their lives because they are aging. But I come from that background. So thank God I came from that background, because it's come easy for me to understand it. It took a while to peel back the layers of programming. But I come from it honestly. I come from it organically. I mean, yeah, it's nature and nurture. I'm adopted. Definitely nurture and some nature, yes. I don't know who my real parents are, but I'm sure they were very, very smart people. So anyways, so it's a trip having these kind of convictions. It really is. And I've never, because back when I was a conspiracy theorist, when like, oh, voting doesn't matter. Well, people vote because you have interests, you have ideals, Democrat, Republican, whatever. But you know what? I don't care who's in office. I could vote, I could not vote. Doesn't matter. I'll still back up whoever's in office. I don't care. If you're backing up the Constitution, I'll back your ass up. If the Supreme Court and the Senate and the House and Congress deems my president completely unfit, then I'll back them up. But no matter what, Democrat, Republican, independent, which is basically Democrat, Republican, there's no independence in our country because they're still an offshoot of those ideologies. No matter what, whoever's in office, I back them up 100%. So Boris, I will back up. I've never really got into like, you know, the UK politics, but I did comment in that Guardian article about how Boris is backing up, you know, America. And I'm like, thank you, Boris. Thank you. I appreciate it. We appreciate you. And then all of the anti-Boris people over there are going like, oh my God, you Trumpster. And it was a trip. I mean, it was really interesting going through that process with these people who don't like America, who don't like Trump, who don't like Boris. I mean, it's so interesting. And I am definitely, you know, flexing my debating muscles. I don't love debating my stuff because I'm tired of convincing people, but I love to debate the politics. Believe me, I did that when I was in the conspiracy world, part of the Ron Paul revolution, anti-Republican, anti-Democrat, trying to find out what corporations are backing what, and that's how I was substantiating my platform and whatever. But it was, you know, I mean, it's an exercise. You're learning how to glean out your ideas, your thought processes. Okay. So, you know, if you guys want to exercise your debating skills, your ways to convince somebody of your point of view, if anything, just understand your own point of view so you become better at winning arguments. Go and debate strangers. Just exercise your muscle of knowing how to convey information and substantiate it. Not just because, here's the thing, I used to be involved with politics because somebody told me something. I never really understood why it is I was a Democrat. I mean, I knew because my parents were. And then I got swayed and caught up in the Ron Paul revolution and the, you know, the libertarians and the conspiracy world. And so it was easy to go from one to another. But to really understand why you back up your country and then you get away from the division, and then you realize what holds a country together, it's the doctrines. And that's why we go into these countries that have no mission statement, no constitution, no due process, and we help them develop it so they have some kind of law and order so they can live. It's not just natural law where Mother Nature is just indiscriminate. Okay, and then you have marauding bands of rebels that are just, you know, committing Mother Nature all over everybody. So that's why America goes into these countries and tries to topple down dictatorships that are compromising our interests and are oppressing other people. And you're going to hear people say, oh no, you know, American coup is toppling Pinochet or toppling this or toppling that, but there's so much more going on. And you back up your country no matter what, because your interests are at stake. You drive your car, you need those specific minerals and salt. You need all of that to keep your way of life going. Don't undermine the very country, the very hand that feeds you. And that's one of the hardest lessons that I've had to learn. So that's where Jilly Juice takes you. Jilly Juice takes you from the emotions and the conjecture and the theories and the anti-American sentiments, and it takes you back to the reality that you have a doctrine that holds you together. You have the three branches of government, due process. And if you don't trust those, then you have nothing. If you don't trust your own government and your three branches of government and your representatives, then you have nothing. And when you have nothing, then you are exposed to everything and easily influenced. And then you'll land yourself in jail. Because inevitably, those activists that are against our government are going to do stupid stuff. And then they will land themselves in jail, or they'll go to the other side, become a traitor, become an ISIS fighter, and then want to come back when they realize that that's not the way of life they want to live. But I am done believing all the stupid stories about Bush. I'm done with the whole 9/11 is an inside job. I'm done with it. I don't care. You back up your country. You back up the interests. If you don't know what went on behind the scenes and you're listening to videos and YouTube and shit all over the internet, then you will be ripe for manipulation. And then you will compromise your own country, taking food out of your kids' mouths, undermining your government, undermining your mother and your father, your country, your neighbors. And that's how I see the conspiracy world. And I won't have any part of it. I'm over it. The world's changing. And like George Bush said, you know, New World Order. Okay? So you adapt and you back up your government and your interests so you can still live, or you become the very thing you fear. And yeah, if you hate your government so much and you go against them, they're going to put you in a re-education camp, or you go to jail, or they put you on trial for being a traitor against your own country. And already we have somebody that did go and join the ISIS fighters, now wants to come back. And I don't think our government is allowing them to come back, because now they are a liability. And we have a lot of people who are anti-American on American soil who are liabilities. And it's rather concerning. And a lot of them are on my Facebook right now watching me. So if you are anti-American, you think Trump is horrible, you think Clinton's horrible, you believe all the lies about George Bush and all of that crap you see all over the internet, if you're promoting Jesse Ventura and Alex Jones, you are a liability to the very thing that you say you uphold. You are a liability. Because if Jesse Ventura is an American, he would back up the American government. Because it's the Constitution. Jesse Ventura and Alex Jones are no more special than Trump or anybody else out there. But guess what he's doing? He is fanning anti-American sentiments. That's what Jesse Ventura is doing. That's what Alex Jones is doing. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. We have been brainwashed by people who want to take America down. And now they have gotten into the hearts and minds of Americans who are actively undermining their own country. And I'm over it. I'm done with it. Do the Jilly juice. If not, you will inevitably cross a boundary, violate a law, and you will end up in jail. But some of you are just anti-American on Facebook. But when you go to your house, you're all patriotic and you're all, oh, I love America. But you think the American government is compromised. You don't have faith in your three branches of government and in your country, you have nothing. And you don't want to go live in the Middle East. I know that's for sure. So anyways, that's all I got to say. I'm going to go chill. Wow, such revelations. Okay, have a good day. Bye.